In 1969, the HT Holden Monaro that's sitting back here in the shed was delivered to Manthal Motors in Wellington, ready for sale. With a 307 cubic inch V8 under the bonnet, a cleaner design profile which included brand new wraparound rear light clusters and a whole new redesigned front grille, this car didn't stay on the lot for too long. 45 years on and the Monaro is showing its age, but that's where our restoration team comes in. Over the next few weeks, they're going to slowly strip back the years and restore it to its former glory. To remind us what our Monaro is going to look like once it's been restored, I've organised to catch up with a bloke named Ian, who apparently has one of the tidiest 69 Monaros in New Zealand. Oh my goodness gracious me. Look at that. It purrs, doesn't it? Just purrs. Whoa. Hey. It smells brand new almost. It's fantastic.
These, when they first came onto the market, they were the talking point for everybody. Everybody wanted one. I was growing up in Sydney. A mate of mine had one of these brand new, a HK. And, same colour as this. We used to go cruising in it up to the Cross on Friday, Saturday night.
Of course you did.
But my love affair, if you like, with Holdens and the Monaro started then and has continued ever since, really. So I do enjoy driving it. It gives me extreme pleasure hopping behind the wheel. It's great.
It's a beautiful testament to the love you have for the brand and that you have for this car. So congratulations, mate.
Yeah, thank you. No, I do enjoy it.
Our Monaro's journey is now underway, so make sure you check back soon for all the latest updates of the restoration process. And don't forget to share your Holden story so you can be in to win the Monaro once it's been returned to its former glory. Our Monaro is now off to the media blasters to have the layers of bog and paint that it's accrued over the years peeled back before any panel work can begin. 60 psi fine grade garnet media blasting strips back the paint and removes any old bog without damaging the metal underneath. So where do you start?
The main focus at the start is just getting the main body structure sound so you can start cutting the other pieces out of it, getting so the floor and all the sort of pillars, everything all good so that the strength is back in the car again. It's good. These are nice and simple to pull apart. Like I say, the whole subframe done bolted and moved out all the way, so it makes it real easy to work on.
Is there a certain part that's a bigger challenge or an area of concern that you were worried about?
Monaros especially, they always rust in sort of the rear quarters around the rear windows. That's a very, very typical spot. It'd be pretty hard to find a Monaro that hasn't rusted there once they got media blasted. You can see there's been some nasty repairs done before, which was pretty standard back in the days. So that's all part of a few problems in it, but that's all totally fixable, so it's all no big deal. So.
What's your relationship with Ian here? You obviously know him from somewhere and you've got a lot of confidence in his ability to suggest that the Monaro comes to him to get the work done.
I've seen his workmanship. He's done work for me before. He's a Holden man. He's got more welding rods than he does tins of bog, so
that's important.
That is.
Yeah. This has been your trade. This has been your thing for how long?
Since I left school.
Is that right?
Yes, which isn't far too many years to think about, but yeah, I basically did been doing the older restoration work for over 20 odd years now. So I sort of know my way around the old cars, and I've done an awful lot of them, and an awful lot worse condition than this one by a country mile. So
finding the right people to, they've got the passion, and you've clearly got the passion. You get these, for what we see around you, keeping the history of it all and rebuilding it. It's fantastic.
You don't make them anymore, so you've got to save the ones that are around.
Now don't forget to check in again soon for the next instalment of this restoration process, and be sure to send in your Holden story so you can be in to win this awesome piece of motoring history. So we know the Monaro is an iconic car, and a big part of what makes it iconic is what's under the bonnet, the heart of the action, the V8 engine. So when we want to get it restored to its former glory, we need to talk to someone who knows what they're doing. And that's why we're here at Wade Automotive to talk to Mark Wade. 307 was a bit of a strange number.
Well, I think they just wanted to enhance the 283, make it a little bit bigger. So they basically put a 327 crank into a 283. That gives you your 307 configuration on your stroke with keeping the original bore.
The Monaro just, sticks in your mind. I mean, it was just the shape. It was just.
Yeah. Well, when we first looked at it, it didn't look too bad. It looked like it might have had regular oil changes, and getting it in the bottom there, and the sludge that was in the bottom. Yeah. Funnily enough, the crank's been ground before. The block's been rebored before, so it has had a recondition in its life. It may have been done 15, 20 years ago. I don't know. Apart from the bore wear, the crank actually measures up quite nice. The block's just normal wear and tear on the block, as you'd expect for an old motor. With a carbureted motor, you always get bore wear in them. It's good. I'm trying to keep it all original. I'm getting the original pulley reconditioned, because you can't buy that little baby pulley anymore. And the same with the water pump, reconditioning the original water pump, so it's all original. It'll go in there, chemicals will eat away, it'll come out lovely and clean, and we can start machining it once it's all nice and clean.
Make sure you check in with us again soon for the next instalment of this restoration project, and be sure to send us your Holden story to be in to win this amazing piece of motoring history once the resto is complete. So it's been a few days since we dropped the Monaro V8 off here at Wade Automotive for its rebuild, so we thought it was time to come back and check in on the progress with Mark and his team.
So we bore it within 3 to 4 thousandths of an inch, which is about 0.15 of a mil to you metric, guys. And then we put it into the big honing machine, the Sun CV616, with the coarser stone, followed by the fine stone to get right down to the finished bore size. The fluid going onto the stone is flushing the stones and keeping the block and the stones cool. They still heat up even with the fluid going on them. We generally recommend planing the block and freshening the top of the block on both sides to get both sides of the block even, and that freshens it up for brand new head gaskets, of course. We swing it over one side, we plane that, and being a V8 configuration, you've got two sides, so every piston's coming up to the block the same height, that's all back to brand new. We've actually put a brand new set of valves right through the heads, they get a lot of wet stem wear, But yeah, no, she's come up quite good. Camshaft, just basically a freshen up on the grind, just what we call an H1 grind, which is a bit more economical, a little bit more power. Because we're boring the motor out, you've got to use a bigger piston, hence the plus 60,000 oversized piston. Just a matter of now putting it all back together with the new bearings and cam bearings. Check, we've got no issues, everything's still turning lovely. Yeah, you can't get it much cleaner than this, you know what I mean? Everything's been through the hot acid 2 or 3 times. The block's been scrubbed with the solvents, been through the hot wash a couple of times, had the cam bearings fitted, then it had another wash after that. So yeah, we're constantly washing it, and you're trying not to get it final clean until you're just about ready to put it together, you know what I mean? Right now the camshaft's in. It's got a brand new timing chain, of which you would expect, brand new sprocket and a brand new crankshaft sprocket.
What do you estimate she's going to be pumping out ponies wise?
So a 307 I suppose is going to be 225, somewhere around there.
Not on your horses, eh?
Yeah, might be a bit much for you, man. Don't think you'll ever see it apart again. You know, it could be another 20 years before it comes apart, so if it's driven right and everything's done right, it should last a heck of a long time.
Make sure you check in again real soon for the latest instalment of the restoration project, and don't forget to send us your Holden story so you can be in to win this amazing car. It's been a little while since the Monaro arrived here at the panel beaters to begin the panel and paint work. And after 45 years of wear and tear, there's no question that Ian has had his work cut out for him. So let's check up on the progress. When we were here last, the car had just got back from the media blasters, and you were ripping into it with all sorts of manner of tools and grinders and things.
Cutting wheels mostly, yeah.
Cutting wheels. I mean, how many bits and pieces did you actually have to do? Obviously, I think it was a big part of it was the floor.
Yeah, the floor has been all replaced now. Sort of the more investigated that, there had been some pretty severe damage in the floor, and a bit of rust damage, so it was better and way more structurally sound for the car. Just cut the whole lot out and replace the back section of the floor.
Yep.
So that's all back exactly as factory now, so that's all good and sorted.
Around the quarter windows, that's got some new panels.
New sections in there, so that's all sort of fairly standard. That's good again now.
Heap of work down on the sills and just behind into the quarters.
Yeah, a couple of new sill panels are going on there, and so it's a couple of sections out to get it to fill it in, and the new panels on the rear quarters, lower section there, that's all been replaced. So I guess where the subframe bolts on, it's the typical spot where they rust as well, so that's a fairly common spot as well. So once the front comes off, it's real easy to get to and fix that, no problem.
You got a panel going on up here?
Yeah, just that's the next section on there, but the new panel below the window, which is yet another common spot where they all rust, so that'll be all nice and new.
It's been a few hours put into it.
A lot of hours put into it. So the certifier's been and checked it as halfway through the job.
Oh, has he come out here?
He's come out and had a look at it and said, fine, that's just carry on. It's been deregistered, so it's got to go through all the processes. So now it's just moving on to the paint stage, priming, lots of block sanding to be done on the painting, and then getting ready to put some colour on it.
Talking of paint, the car is going to be Daytona bronze, which is the original colour.
The Daytona bronze, the colour the car is going. Just put a base coat on, just a colour that's reasonably close to the top coat it's going to be, so it covers nicely. Just get a good coverage on the car, and then just do the final, the bronze coats from then on in. At least 4 coats of the colour on, probably another four clear coats on that.
Wow.
So there's still a few more to go yet. Put the rear suspension and the diff and everything back in.
Yep.
And put the front suspension back in, so the car is on its wheels again. We can move it around.
We can put a seat in it and make brum brum noises.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. It's perfect. Our Monaro is now really starting to take shape, so make sure you check in again real soon for the next instalment of the restoration. And also, don't forget to send in your Holden story so you can be in to win this very cool car. The Monaro has been stripped down, the engine rebuilt and the body restored, but there's a heap of other little items that need a fair bit of tender love and care. So that's why we're here at the upholstery company to check out the trim detail that our Monaro will be kitted out with. What are the challenges, you know, associated with something like this? Obviously, this has got a vinyl cover on at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think this would have been the original, so, you know, we wanted to keep it looking as original spec as possible, so we went back, we looked through the original colour of the car.
Yep, Daytona bronze.
Daytona bronze, yeah, and we sourced the original cover for it, which would have been the black and white houndstooth.
Wow, it's pretty beautiful actually.
It is, yeah, I mean, it's as it would have been from the factory. Yeah. You know, you're checking that, first of all, that your spring system is all okay, that your foam's still got good density in it, so we've got to make sure that the foam's going to fit the covers.
And supports the new covers, yeah. Pretty fancy looking door trim over here.
Yeah, well, this is the, this has been as it came from the factory as well. You've got the original Monaro print in it. You've got the same sort of that vinyl detailing that matches the houndstooth.
Yeah. Well, we want to make sure that it is back to its former glory as close to possible, and obviously this is going to have it looking pretty sharp. The Monaro wouldn't be a classic without a lot of chrome detailing, so that's why we're here at Progressive Polishers and Electroplaters to see what it takes to bring some of the Monaro shiny bits back to life.
Quite a few of the Monaro parts, like the ashtrays, the tail lights, the door handles, are made of die cast, which is pure zinc.
Oh, right.
And it's pressure cast.
Yeah.
Then it has a copper undercoat, nickel, chrome.
It's a big process. I don't think most people understand, you know, how big a job it is.
No, most people come and say, can you dip this for me? Well, it's a lot more than that. It has to be stripped right down. In the case of those bumpers, they had to be stripped, welded, polished, heavy coppered, 6 hours, not enough, repolished, back in another 6 hours, 1 hour's nickel, and then chromed.
Yeah.
The weight of it, it would double in weight sometimes through plating.
Wow,
so,
double in weight.
Yeah, it's in there a long time, you know. We polish a lot of it off again to get it to that consistency that you're wanting to see, which is yourself. You want to see a mirror reflection, you know. You see here, this is a typical what you see, and we do a lot of work on that to get that filled, panel beaded, stripped back,
De-rusted.
Yeah, and brought back up, and something like what you see here ends up like that, and that there.
Oh, that's for our car.
That's your car, mate.
All right, I better give a really good inspection then, hadn't I? Make sure you check in again soon for the next instalment of the restoration process, and don't forget to send in your Holden story so you can be in to win this awesome piece of motoring history. Our Monaro's been on a bit of a journey since we met it all those weeks ago. And the resto team, well, they have definitely had their work cut out for them, but the job is almost complete. So let's head inside and check out how the final assembly is tracking. Wow. Scott.
Hey, mate.
Hey, mate. Look at this. She's back in the shed.
Yeah, she is.
You've got it back in where it all began.
Where we found it.
Where we found it. She looks a little bit different.
Yeah, there's been a few hours put into it. I mean, you saw it before. The panel beading, the paint's just awesome.
Yep.
We've got a few badges on, a few stainless bits.
What's under the bonnet?
What's under the bonnet?
Because look. Well, that's a little bit different to when we saw it at Wade's. Wow.
Yes. No, he's done a great job. We've painted it, obviously. We've fitted the water pump, got some stickers on, the dizzy, it's all timed.
Yep.
A few little bits and away we go.
It's all the little stuff, eh? There's so much little stuff. And fitting the guards, and, you know, you've got sort of the basis for the headlights to go on, you know, where they fit, and everything's just, all those little things just take time to put together, don't they?
And there's, you know, every washer's new, every bolt's been zinced, and then it's making sure you put the right one back in the right place.
So a bit of chrome going on too,
chrome,
the badges, as you say.
Yeah. We've got our 5 litre, which are unique to the HT 307 model.
307, yeah. Yep.
Bill I met yesterday for the first time. He's done a fantastic job. He's been doing it that long, he knows what works. he's not mucking around trying different techniques and wasting our time. And he knows what's got to be done. Windows are next.
How does it feel to see it where it's at right now?
No, it's fantastic. It's a great thing to be part of, and every little bit that goes on, you're that little bit closer, and yeah, you are sort of, wow, it's going to be awesome for whoever's going to win it.
Hey, that looks awesome.
Yeah, mate, we've got the wheel on, ready for the hubcap.
I get the job.
You get the job.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna make a mess of this time. That looks awesome.
It's not bad, is it?
Not bad at all.
Just a lot of work to achieve what we're trying to achieve, the best result, using the best parts available with the best guys.
Well, it's been weeks and weeks since we embarked on this pretty special journey to restore this beautiful car. And it's about time we had a look at the finished product. Scott, mate, are you going to let me look at it?
Let's go, mate.
You're going to have a look at the finished deal. There we go, mate. I can't wait. Woo! Far out. Pretty happy with the way it's turned out?
Yeah, stoked.
Stoked.
Life can't be hard on myself. Just need a good night. Forget about you with someone else. It's such a hard time, but I don't need no one's help. It's such a hard night in hell. Yeah, the day will dawn and the time's gonna come. But we all need a little hope, and the memories will dry and leave a thorn in your side, and then you know it's time to go.
Well, the outside looks awesome, mate, but I'm amping to get inside the car, so let's get in. I'm getting on the driver's side.
Take your boots off.
Yeah. The feeling you get sitting in these cars, the era is, it's so simple in so many ways, but just works, doesn't it? Just absolutely works.
Growing up, we had one when I was a young fella. They've always been just over the fence or just down the road, around the corner. It's they're just awesome. Just love them.
The engine. I haven't heard the engine.
You'd like to?
This is the key.
This is the key, mate.
Woo! The 307. Let me hear it burst into life. Listen to that burble. So that's the end of the rebuild project of this iconic car that has been such a huge part of Holden's history. But there is plenty more to come in Holden's journey right here in New Zealand over the next 60 years. Make sure you're a part of it.
In hell.